we have Thursday Night Football, Ravens and Steelers. We have Michael Vick making his starting debut on the Steelers.
I think that out of any game that we were kind of talking about for week 4, I think our analysis was actually more correct for this game than any other game. And we said the Ravens are bad, and we said Pittsburgh was good, but without Ben Roethlisberger, the beat-up Steelers were primed to lose a game, and the Ravens were primed to steal this victory from them, and that's exactly what happened.
It is exactly what happened, but not in the way I expected it to.
Yeah, not exactly. I don't know. I mean, Vic didn't have a great game, which was sort of expected.
He actually did have a pretty good game. He was accurate as shit.
Let's say it was better than I think maybe you thought. I don't know. He played about as good as I thought he was going to play. He's not completely washed up, but he can't carry a team like he used to be able to either. I mean, his stat line is 19 for 26, 124 yards and a touchdown. So
he only had 124 yards.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Not great. And he rushed some.
I retake that statement.
He rushed some, and he got 33 yards, but a far cry from what he was 5 years ago, or longer. But
you know what really confused me going into this game? There's that one play. I think it was 3rd and 2. They have no tailbacks, in the backfield, and they give him the run option to Michael Vick.
Right.
If it was Cam Newton, probably would have gotten it. Hell,
if this was young Michael Vick, probably would have gotten
it. That's probably the best way to say it. If this was Mike Vick at 2008, I'd be like, go for it. That's the play you got to do.
Right.
Don't force them into these kind of plays now. though.
I think that play in particular showed that he can't do it anymore. He can't run like he used to.
Not only did that play show that, but what I really don't understand from the play calling is, hey, guess what? Ben Roethlisberger, he's hurt. You're going to do a play like this, potentially hurt your backup? All right, well, good luck, I guess. I hope you don't do that shit again.
That definitely was a risky call. I didn't even really think about that too much, but yeah. Antonio Brown seems to be slowing down a bit without Roethlisberger, which is kind of understandable.
Yeah.
Receiver can only do too much. Justin Forsett finally woke up and actually played.
Yeah, more yards than Le'Veon Bell. Who the fuck would have thought that?
Yeah. Bell did get that touchdown, though. So.
Yeah.
The big surprise, I think, was it Aiken, I believe is his name? Was it Kamar Aiken, I believe? Stepped in and kind of filled that Steve Smith role. Got a lot of yards.
Yeah.
Kind of carried Baltimore. Flacco relied on him a lot.
Yeah.
And an interesting guy to watch, I think. Because after showing that might have been a breakthrough performance really for him. Especially if Steve Smith is out for any extended amount of time. That, in a way, since this is Steve Smith's last year, it's almost good that... It's not almost good. It is good that another wide receiver is potentially emerging.
Right, yeah. Baltimore fans should feel good that they have a security blanket when Steve Smith is gone after this year.
Right. And, I mean, it's only one game that he's really been impressive like this. But you got to think Flacco is going to target him more after this game.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. That's definitely the story to watch, I think, with the offense on the Baltimore offense as the season progresses. Who's going to become the new number one wide receiver?
Yeah.
Because they got to be looking for him.
Yeah, definitely. So. And, it's crazy, watching that game. A lot of people, after Steve Smith got that hit, right away, they were saying that it looks like it's something in his lower back, maybe a pinched nerve or something like that. And then come the next day, and you find out he has 4 broken ribs.
Right.
Like,
hey, Steve Smith is a straight up gangster, and I mean like gangster. He took that hit, and did you see that? He grabbed that dude by the collar and was like,
Yeah.
like,
And
and no one, in retrospect, he had like a fractured back and broken ribs, and he's still like ready to throw down.
Yeah.
Like, Steve Smith we got a badass on our hands here, like.
Absolutely insane. That's the first thing I'm like, you know how bad they had
I'm
to
glad that he is
hurt?
not on the Panthers anymore. I'll put it that way.
That had to hurt so bad, and he's just
yeah.
like, yeah, and he's just walking off the field on his own. He's like, I don't need any fucking help, and just, he's just kind of doing his thing, and that's why, like, I mean, understandably so, when the announcer's like, oh well, it looks like he's kind of hurt, but it doesn't look too serious, and then you find out.
He reminds me of not like his maybe not his like persona, but as far as his toughness, reminds me of Brett Favre. Just an old school Iron Man mentality where the only way they're not playing is if they're benched by the coach.
Yeah.
Breeze kind of has that mentality too. I honestly think that he probably should have been pulled out the week before and just wouldn't come out of the game. But Steve Smith is definitely a throwback to maybe an era that's quickly fading, of the bygone tough guys finished first era,
Yeah,
and it's kind of refreshing just to see like
it is refreshing.
A salute to his final year. He might be the last guy that's like that, honestly.
That's you know what, I think you're absolutely right, and I don't want to even say that it's maybe necessarily the players. I think it's just the way that the NFL and the coaches go. It's like, you go, it's just like, oh man, I got a cramp in my leg. Oh, let's bench him. You don't risk it. Just you won't. That's okay. Just go on the bench this week and you'll be fine. When you go back to, I mean, shit, especially the '90s was the last era, but it even kind of went into the 2000s where, if you had a hamstring injury, it's like, no, you played through it.
Right.
Look at Brett Favre, a broken thumb for pretty much the whole season. No, play through it.
Well, it's a different culture now. It's not. I mean, it's still football. It's still contact. I've joked about flag football, but it's not being pussified to that extent. They're being smarter about it, I guess. You don't really have this, the coaches and the management and all that doesn't raise players to where they think they need to try to push through these injuries. They're trying to raise them to just play smarter football, and a lot of that's because you get bad press from concussions. Whatever the motivations are kind of irrelevant as long as the result's good, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's like, because you said I don't think it's so much the mentality of the players. If they're raised in an environment where they're kind of brought along to think this way, of course they're going to think that way. If you're raised in an environment to where it's like, oh, your leg's broken, walk it off. You're going to have more of a gritty mentality.
Yeah.
And I think you really only see that amongst a lot of linemen now, because that's still pretty rough to be down there in the trenches every play.
True. Yeah.
But
you come out guys that have clubs in their hands, clubs on their feet.
And I really think these two teams, the Ravens have a short history, but especially the Steelers though, and the Ravens' short history thanks to Ray Lewis. They both kind of have this history of being gritty teams.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting that you're seeing like that last maybe hurrah of an old true grit type player with the Ravens in a game like this. I know he was, a non-factor obviously in this game after the hit, but
it's almost sad in a way to see a guy like that. See that this
and some
is
people don't like
year.
him because I think he's gonna play again though. He'll be back. He's gonna miss a week, but a guy like that, Steve Smith will be back. Maybe he won't be as good. Maybe he won't be the same. Maybe never again. If this is his last season, he might never get a full recovery.
Yeah.
Like during the course of the season, but hey, he did have one last good show the week before, right?
He did.
So
yeah.
That's what they say. The greats always have one last great performance in them. So if this is the end for Steve Smith, congrats to a great career, and if it's not, that would be good for my fantasy team. So good luck. And Pittsburgh, hey, we spent a lot of time talking about Steve Smith instead of Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh lost without Roethlisberger. okay, you kind of expect it. Get healthy. The fans gotta. If Roethlisberger comes back, they can win the division
Apparently
again
by week 7,
without him.
he said.
Yeah. As long as they don't have him, they're in detriment of losing. Missing the playoffs. And as soon as he comes back, they're probably the favorite again as far as going forward. So. Kind of the Bengals actually have a lot to do with that. Honestly, if the Bengals keep winning, it's gonna be hard to come back from that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
It's tough division. It was tough last year for everybody too.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the rest of it goes. If you want to discuss more about Steve Smith or anything else about Pittsburgh related, we do have a Facebook and a Twitter page that you can follow us on. The link is in the description below. Anything else you want to discuss?